Okay, the first ever cult report, #1. So we got a new ritual in the school because a big part of what we're doing around here in cult creating is creating that frame of orientation. Everything comes back to creating a frame of orientation, right? It's what the brain needs, is that mental map, and it's something that should always be pulling members back to, because if you don't, then they don't know where they are, and ambiguity is a quick road to churning. So in that, we want to, another value is collaboration. Communities are very collaborative, cult creating specifically. And so you guys have no idea what we're working on, and we have no idea what you guys are working on. And so we want this, the cult report is going to be where the boys just talk each week, each Friday, about what we got going on, what we're building for you guys, how we're making cult creators cooler. And then a chance for you guys to sound off in the comments to say what module you're on and what exactly you're building, so that we can figure out how to help you better, what struggles you have, any problems that you have facing it, so that we know where y'all at. So let's share screen, let's get into it.
As per the cult psychology behind why we're starting this, same reason that Sam Levin started Skool News is because they needed to have a reason to show up in front of their community face to face, show some face, but also the same reason when we were working with Funk, then we implemented a feedback tool where they could submit problems, features, requests for products they wanted, et cetera, so that people felt like they're building with you. Because if they feel like we're just making all the decisions, then that's not a community. A community should be collaborative, because if you feel like you're building it with us, you're more likely to stay. So that's why we encourage you to do the same. At least a similar version, whatever works for you, but make it collaborative. So that's
road mapping. So yeah, here we are.
Cult report #1.
Let's go. Okay, top of the hour, we have the method. So we've been deep in the classroom because we have not been for weeks. And there's still many modules, which I'm sure you guys see, that are unfinished and locked, like the status, significance, similarity, milestones, transformation journey. So we've been deep in here trying to get this content pumped out, make it easy for you guys. But first, we have a new manifesto maker. So we redid indoctrination, make it a little hotter, make it a little easier. But while we've been working on Brian's adspend.com's brand, then we came across a new way to build manifestos. And so it is called the S shape, which we're just calling the story structure manifesto. So there's 5 elements to it, and it walks you through like an S. So it kind of like takes you from the top, kind of like around, shift, and then end with that big rally. And so that's a big part of cult creating, is like, how do we rally our audience? So it was cool to see new frameworks, and this one works perfect for cult creators because it's exactly what we talk about, using beliefs to call in the right people, showing what's different about what we're building, and then rallying people towards our vision and into action. So you can check out what we did. This is kind of like the first one we did with it, and broke it down in terms of, each category: the problem, the belief, the critique, the switch. And so you can see how we did it for the Adman manifesto, and now we got to redo it again for cult creators. So we'll redo our own manifesto, make it hotter, which we've been wanting to do for a while.
Yeah, manifesto is one of those things. They say like branding is molding fog, and while the manifesto is like somewhat of a framework, then it feels like there's a lot of ways it could go. But finding this new framework for what the ad agencies are using for all the different ways to make a manifesto, then the S shape is really for the hero brands like us and you guys, where we're trying to show someone a new way of doing things to accomplish a new goal. So that's really what the S shape is designed to do. And Miller High Life follows this one. So they're all about like that new world. It's like that manly world. Like they wouldn't have put a man on the moon if it weren't for Miller High Life. Like very grandiose, but like a different way of living. So that's where this one makes the most sense for people like us.
Hell yeah, brother. So yeah,
you write your manifesto with the S shape.
If you guys written it already.
ChatGPT prompt, right?
Should be.
I mean, copy and paste that into ChatGPT.
Yeah, either way, yeah, you can just, I mean, you go to manifesto writing and just copy and paste exactly what they have. It's even already set to the S shape deep dive. So you can just copy and paste that into your robots. And then even better, if you can do that and drop in your brand Bible or your tribe map, then it can do it really well, especially if you have like a nice list of beliefs, if you have, you know, some parts about your switch. So yeah, new manifesto maker. So that's one part of it. Updates to tribe map. So again, we're just trying to make this hotter, cleaner, easier to solve for, because it is pretty huge, right? It is every piece you need to build your cult, at least like at the 30,000 foot view. So we just are trying to make things a little hotter, make the steps a little bit more action oriented, you know, checklists for exactly what you need to solve for. But also the brand Bible is kind of now separated from it, because it should just be, you know, the 7 pieces really tight. And the brand Bible is just how you extrapolate on it so that you can feed it to your VA, your robots, your teammates, and then have a working thing like, you know, updating more brand beliefs and, you know, updating more symbols and shit like that. But then we added the cult branding, because this wasn't showing up until leading the community. But there is a bunch of pieces in the cult brand that are needed, you know, in the earlier days, like what is our gang logo? What is our gang sign? What is our slang, right? So this is something that we still got to create a video around, but then it's going to be a little bit more obvious. So you have everything that you need in the tribe map to build out every other module, including design. So this has been a real motherfucker, because we're redoing our design, which we're going to get to, but this is how we've made some big jumps using just ChatGPT and Pinterest, right? So now we have a bit of the cult brand OS so that you can be more on brand and easier. And so this just all started because I just found a bunch of pins that I liked, that I felt were on brand, and then just took a screenshot of it and then fed this prompt so that it can just, you know, be a graphic designer and start pulling out all of the, you know, color language, style and composition, mood, emotion, tone, light, color grading, texture, grain, photography direction, typography, right? So once I put this in, I just copy and pasted this. And then I said, hey, check out my logo, the old one of Cult Creators, and then tell me how I'm doing. And they're like, oh, you're far off. So it was saying it looks like street graffiti and it's too hard for that laid back surf culture vibe. So now we've had to redo the design. But using this, you know, Cult Brand OS has been super helpful. So yeah, there's some updates here in Tribe Map. You want to jump back in there?
It's a Cult Brand OS. We just call it the Cult Brander.
Cult Brander.
Cult Brander makes sense.
Just always fumble fucking forward. And then the transformation journey, right? That one and milestones. So these have been 2 really big parts, because like, how do you codify your entire methodology and then turn it into something, especially for people who are doing like one-on-one coaching and now it's a one-to-many style? Then it is tough. It's tough to take everything that you do. Like when we did this with Michael Sahota, we had his entire apartment covered in sticky notes and whiteboards, and he's like, I don't know how to make this a linear journey. And so it was a real motherfucker.
So the whole point of agile is that it's not linear, and it shouldn't be. So you're trying to take something that's deliberately not linear and still make it a linear journey. We got there.
We got there. You can always get there. So, but yeah, it's been a real motherfucker. So transformation journey and milestones, those ones are coming live soon. So it's taking everything that you do in the transformation journey and turning it into like actual modules. Like how do we take that and like create the frameworks so that it becomes like all the steps, it becomes the courses, it becomes the modules within the courses, it becomes the lessons within the modules, and you know exactly how to structure it so that we handhold your people to the finish line. So yeah, more content coming soon.
Monthly recurring results.
Monthly recurring revenue and results. Monthly recurring results that give you revenue. Yeah, boy. So yeah. So the next big one is, I mean, we got to finish these, but then the, you know, cult leader systems, similarity, significance, and status, those are the priorities next. So yeah, the method, the classroom, we have been all up on trying to make it hotter and better. Next, we have a change to the model. So Ricky, you want to talk about the freemium?
So for those on Skool, probably know that there are tiers, and we've always hated the idea of a free community because you can't really indoctrinate them properly. At least in the past with like Facebook groups and stuff, like Skool does a bit of a better job, but you can really lose it with free communities. So we have to figure out how to drop the friction, because right now it's a $69 first date. And then it's like the tribe mapping, which is like a lot of work. And so we are choosing to open that free model as a way to create that kind of like first date. I mean, the goal of social media is to find our tribe and to teach them our way of doing things and how we see the world. And so a better, more advanced way to do that, like the next step for them would be a free community where we can talk about cult psychology, because that is our way to grow a Skool community, grow your MRR, is through belonging, through cult psychology. So it's the shit we love to share anyways. So that's why we have updated rituals below we'll talk about, but now we are opening a freemium model so we can make the community more about cult psychology. And then implementing the cult creator model will be that paid step for those who want to actually implement it in a model. But we love the cult psychology shit. I'm sure a lot of other schoolers do too. So that's what we're going to start leaning into, which we'll talk about rituals after.
And it'll be interesting to see, because it's a good test of how we do the messaging so that it still pulls in our perfect people, but with a wider TAM so that we get more people in, right? So we get the free people in, but we want those free people to still be our kinds of people. And so again, like, how does the messaging really come together to, you know, still exclude most of the people, include the people we want with a wider TAM so that we get, you know, the free people that are the most likely to upgrade and actually, you know, build a customer cult, not a community. So curious to see what kind of people we get on the freemium. And good test, yeah. Okay, design. So this is tough because we are not designers. We never want to be designers. We ideally just want to hire designers, but like there's so many tools with AI. And so, am I not sharing anymore?
No, it just stopped. But they say, what, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Like, there's so much you can communicate, so much you express of your brand, personality, and philosophy through design. So, I mean, you can repel customers just as easily as attract them just through design. So that's where we're trying to make it much more authentic and fun, because just because we like the cult stuff on the methodology of how we grow our community, it doesn't make sense for the expression of it for who we are, because like that dark art psychology, fun to learn, but like it's not like we are that dark, right? We want it to be fun and sunny and beachy, because that's the whole point of freedom, is to be sunny and sun fucked and margs and mamacitas, right? So that's the branding we're leaning into.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's been tough. And yeah, so new fonts, styles, and symbols. So again, this is kind of like what I showed on that cult design in the tribe mapping. So this is where at first Daraj was super helpful because he created this like brand board for us. And then we created a second one that's more on the like beach swag, you know, 90s surf era style. And so it's been super helpful where just taking this prompt and putting it into ChatGPT 5, then it's been able to spit out a whole bunch of inspiration, symbols. And so with that, then we've found new fonts, right? Because this one is too street art graffiti darkness. And now we're going for a very different visual. And so we want it to feel more, you know, yeah, sun-fogged. So it's very much, it's very different, obviously. Blues and reds also is an ode, because growing up as identical twins, Rick was in red and slept on the right. Like it was always very, you know, Rick is red, Mike is blue, and still kind of been our colors. Even Rick's deviated, but I'm hard for blue. But it's just a good ode to the boys. He's a bit of a green guy, yeah. We're both very yellow, but yeah, I still love this. Actually, my favorite shirt, which I'm wearing right now, was a big part of the SPO for it. Also because it's Levi's. We love Levi's. It's a cult brand, but it's that like faded red with like that faded bold blue. It's kind of more obvious on the back, but yeah. So it's like a faded 75% opacity red. Doesn't matter. Either way, we have like new fonts right here, new design, and just in terms of like symbolism. So I liked these sardines that I saw. There's like a shirt I saw, and there was like a bunch of sardines. And I liked that. Then I saw another one of like a fish smoking, and I'm like, man, this is sick, because it's for schoolers and fish swim in schools, and it's all about like belonging, and fish always have this sense of belonging. Like you never just see one fish unless it's like a shark. But like, yeah, I think there's a lot of cool symbolism around, you know, fish smoking. And then I designed this little cult symbol, put it backwards on it. And so they're swimming with that. And so again, just seeing how symbolism just evolves with the brand. You know, again, when one thing changes, then everything changes. So if the like design changes a little bit, then there's symbols that change and the fonts change and the colors change. And so that is the thing with cult creating, is you just have to be kind of willing to burn it all down and restart. So this
Which goes back to brand archetype. We were very much like explore, find these, you know, cult psychology secrets and bring them back. Like we never wanted to be a guru. We just want to be like the guide on the side. It's like, hey, we've just been curious about some things and here's what we learned. But then we thought we were layering it with jester archetype. So that's why it was like sexualized and dark arts and hypnosis and, you know, this kind of old energy. But that's not really our actual brand archetype that makes the most sense, because we're creators. Like we created this model. We want to take something that doesn't exist and make it something new that does exist and repurpose things. And we want to create. We just want to create customer cults. So leaning into the creator archetype changes the brand design. So it's a lot more fun and creative. Not so
like Lego.
Dark and sketchy. A little more like Lego. And that's what these secrets are designed to be. Lego blocks that help you build your customer cult. So,
and again, like this all shifted.
Everything changes.
Yeah. And it was the end of May or basically beginning of June where we landed on cult creators, because we redid our tribe map again, because we knew it wasn't quite it. It was like coaches and marketers and like all of this. And it was like the dark arts and it was like, yeah, different archetypes. And so like we redid it. But now it was just this week where we're like, hold on. It's obviously the creator archetype mixed with the explorer, and then how those two pair together really change some things. So it's like, okay, that means this has to change. That means the design has to change. And so again, just it's very iterative. It's not just build once. It's always be looking to improve. Like every week it's, you know, lure and lead in the community, but it's like, how do we optimize this? How do we make this better? How do we make it cleaner? So the design is updated. Also feedback. Camille was really great for saying like, use some gray in the background. And I thought that was crazy until, you know, again, my cult brand OS and it's my cult brander is saying like, never use a white background, never use a black background. You should be using some like light yellow to light gray. And then that's what this is. And then I realized that's what this background is in general. Like if you contrast against this white here, it is like white's harsh. I didn't realize. So very interesting. Now I got to redo all of these, but I have to make these look different, but similar to these, because this is the paid stuff in the freemium model. And this is all going to be the free stuff, except for this. So fumble fucking forward.
Something
Next,
that looks cooler on the merch.
That's mostly it. Yeah, is trying to design this, right? So Daraj has hit that 100 paying members. I know Lane is close or has hit it. We're on our way. We're working towards it. Funk hit that years ago. But yeah, the official cult creator shirt for 100 paying members is something that we need. And so trying to figure out what are those symbols? What are those colors? What are those fonts? What is the design? Has really helped create the design for the thumbnails and the whole school in general. And so how one thing affects the other and how one thing affects the rest is very fascinating, very all-encompassing. So also, if you guys have any input on this, I like the symbols for, you know, like the fish, I think could be cool, whether it's merch or the official cult creator one. You know, the smoking fish is cool. I like the wave here. I like these little guys. I feel like that's a good symbol for cult creating because it's mythic. You know, it's different. It's not taken by anything, but like what it feels like. Same with this little gator guy, because it just kind of feels very Mayan. We've spent a lot of time in like those parts of Mexico studying their rituals. You know, the little potion for cult creating, palm trees. So like what kind of symbols?
Imagery.
Yeah, like what symbols feel right for y'all would be good feedback. And then rituals.
Yeah, so because we are opening up the freemium model, so we are making it more like, because it's free, then you have to really dial in the rituals and the narrative, or else people don't know what they're showing up for, what they can expect, why they would post. Like if they don't know what to post or how to post, they're not going to post. And if they don't know what to expect from our posts, they're not going to come back, right? So that's where we need to lean into the cult psychology. So it's the shit we love sharing anyway. So Tuesday, we're going to start sharing just the tip Tuesdays with cult tips. And then Wednesday is more cult brand breakdowns, because we understand, like, we know what to look for cult brands and building customer cults, but not everyone knows what that means, what that looks like, how to define it. So that's where Wednesday gives us an opportunity to show you who's killing it, how they're killing it, and how you can steal those secrets for yourself. And then Friday, yeah, we get the cult report, because we want to make it collaborative, want to build in public, and want to get your feedback as we go and grow.
So that's
And
been a
I'm
big
sure these
part.
will
And
expand.
I mean, you can see there's no engagement, or like, you know, very low engagement in cult creators. And that's because we don't have rituals. And so the rituals stem to the values. And so it's entirely our fault for sure, but it's also just a good lesson in it. It's like, well, how do we take our values and turn them into rituals? And what rituals help get results that can be turned into engagement triggers? And what social rituals, so like, you know, freedom is a huge like core value. And so finding freedom every day is something that like we kind of internally do, whether it's, you know, I started the day in the sauna this morning while everybody's like getting ready for work. I'm walking over and sitting in the sauna. And so, or like a midday afternoon run, or like, you know, even just like walking and drinking a beer, like why we're doing it is for freedom. And so like what rituals? And so, yeah, we should have more on like freedom finding. But a big part of it is like, where are you guys at and what are you building? Because like building the cult, creating the cult stuff is every part of this thing. And so then we need to know what you guys are doing. So then how do we turn that into a ritual? But also it's just accountability for yourself and for us, you know, to see like, okay, what are we working on right now? What is our current goal? So yeah, Lane's on like transformation journey building out his like classroom modules, whereas like Keith is still very hard into like the tribe mapping. So, but everybody's kind of everywhere. We want to know like, what's the pulse? Just get the pulse. And so, yeah, more rituals will mean more engagement, which will mean more fun. And as we go into freemium, then there's going to be more people coming in that need to know who we are and what we do here. Like, what is the rituals and why? So you can see how when engagement is low, then just look to rituals.
And that's what we got. That's the first cult report. That says getting it.
Getting on a Friday.
So yeah, let us know how things are progressing for you guys.
Yeah, pop off in the comments.
We're doing it all again next week.
I'm sure there'll be less updates next week, but who knows?
Yeah, kind of got a backlog here.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So yeah, we'll keep fumble fucking forward. Keep creating those cults. Keep working to create freedom. Get our 10K a month in 2 to 4 hours a day. It's our core goal. Start living the good life.
And enjoy the process in the meantime. Happy Friday.
Absolutely. Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right.
Let's go.